is an honor to call this man a teammate, a former first-round draft pick out of Notre Dame in 2012, a five-time Pro Bowler, 2017 first-team All-Pro, set to enter his 10th season in the NFL, all with the Minnesota Vikings. Like I said, it's a pleasure to call this guy a teammate, Harrison Hitman Smith. What it do, baby?
What's up, man? You doing all right?
Yeah, man, I'm doing great, man. I know we got to get you in and out because I know you got a round set up here in a little bit. How you been playing so far since we've been done with football?
Man, I've been playing all right. You know how it is, especially my game. I'll have some good ones, and then I'll blow up. So I'm trying to be like you, trying to chase that smooth swing.
Hey, go ahead, Matt.
I was going to ask Harrison, if you had to rank yourself when you talk about golfers on the team currently, where would you put yourself when you look at all the golfers, guys who consistently golf in the Vikings? Where would you put yourself?
I'd have to put Thielen and Pat P up at the top, and I'll put myself right behind them.
What about Captain Kirk?
Kirk's coming around.
Yeah.
I'd have to put myself above him, but he's got some game.
Yeah. Nah, Captain Kirk can play, but like Harrison said, Harrison is definitely a step above Captain Kirk. But, Kirk just getting into the game. But, he'll get it eventually, right?
Oh, yeah. We all will.
So, Harrison, when you hear yourself introduced now as a vet, obviously I had an opportunity
10 years
to go through a OTA with you. Don't look like a vet on the – like you look like a vet on the field, but as far as your energy level and the way you're able to move, how does that make you feel now entering your 10th season and now being introduced as a vet?
I mean, sometimes I forget how long I've been in the league, to be honest. I don't know if you feel that way.
I do.
It's just like part of it in my mind, it's flown by. And then the other part is it's been a lifetime.
Right.
But I think when you get a little older in the league, I got to play with Terrence Newman, and he was 39 going into his last year playing corner.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and I was always like I always called him Pops. And now that I'm one of the older guys, I'm not quite 39. Like I don't like when people call me old, so I kind of feel bad that I used to give them a hard time about it. Yeah. But I think being around the younger guys, like we have so many young corners, it kind of keeps you young and keeps you fresh. You can't get like stuck in your old ways because you're explaining different things and figuring out new ways to play things the way offenses are attacking you. So I don't feel like I feel good as far as like being a vet. I feel confident. I've experienced a lot, but I also am looking forward to like new challenges as well.
Yeah. So Harrison, let's go back to the beginning. We know you stood out on both sides of the football in high school in Tennessee. So how did you end up at Notre Dame on defense? And when you look at some of your numbers, I mean, you were the Tennessee Player of the Year in 2006, 25 touchdowns, nearly 2,000 yards rushing and receiving in high school. You had offers from Alabama, of course, Tennessee. You ended up at Notre Dame. How did you end up at Notre Dame, and what made you decide to go to the defensive side?
First of all, going to the defensive side, I loved playing offense. I loved playing special teams. I loved playing football, period.
Yeah.
But I just knew I probably had a brighter future on defense, like as far as like getting to the NFL. But I think I really got recruited because of my offensive film. Because I was okay on defense, but I was a good ball carrier and good pass catcher. So those things kind of let my film pop. As far as going to Notre Dame, though, I really grew up wanting to go to Tennessee. And they were just kind of down at the time and struggling. And the program wasn't what it once was when I watched growing up. So I thought it was best to get out of town. And like you said, I had an offer from Alabama. It wasn't quite the Alabama we know of right now. Yeah. It was like right before that. Like Saban just got the head job. But I knew if I was leaving Knoxville, I probably wouldn't go to another SEC school.
Mm-hmm. Right. And when you got to Notre Dame, you flipped back and forth between linebacker and safety. When did you recognize that safety was going to be the future for you?
I always wanted to play safety. I never wanted to play linebacker. Okay. The problem was we had some decent safeties, and we were a little thin at linebacker, and they wanted to find a way to get me on the field. And I had some okay games, but I wasn't quite big enough in the scheme that we ran. So when we played the big boys, like, it wasn't very pretty. And it kind of got me away from the good things I was doing at safety too. So fortunately I kind of got it squared away.
So how did the nickname Hitman come about?
I didn't get that till I got to the Vikings. My rookie year, I got ejected from like the 5th game. I got
you got ejected.
Headhunt.
Yeah, so that's
who else got ejected off of hit? Burfitt, didn't it?
Vontez Burfitt.
Yeah, Vontez. He got ejected out of a game. So we got 2 people that got ejected for hits. So what happened, Harrison?
Man, I got ejected from a game last year too.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which I didn't think that one was. I mean, I was really trying. Like when I was a rookie, I was just running around as reckless as I could.
And the rules are a little different too when you're a rookie compared to how they are now. Yeah,
true. But now, I mean, I really do. Like, you know how coach talks to me in the meetings. He's like, make sure to lower your target, keep your head out of it. I always, every time in practice, I think about that, and in games, I think about it. And sometimes they're still going to call it, but like,
no question,
you can't. As a safety, you can't not make a play on the ball or on the pass catch, because then they're just going to be disrespecting your area your whole career. Like, you just can't really allow that. But you gotta also try to play within the rules. So it's tough and it gets tougher, but that's just how it is.
Right.
Yeah. So your rookie year, I mean, in Minnesota, your teammate and another Peterson, not Pat Peterson, but Adrian Peterson was there. He won the MVP that year. What were your takeaways from watching a legend work on a weekly basis, to say the least?
It was wild. It was because he was coming off an ACL.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he really wasn't getting a whole lot of carries until like halfway through the year. Like really, Percy Harvin was, if you would have stopped the season at the halfway point, like Percy would have been our offensive MVP. Like Percy was going nuts.
Right.
And Adrian was getting a bunch of yards per carry and everything, but it wasn't like super gaudy overall numbers. And then that back half of the year, it was like, if he didn't rush for 200 yards a game, it was like kind of shocking. It was really, it almost spoiled me because that was my first experience in the league. And I was just like, all right, well, we got a running back that'll go for 200 and like 2 or 3 touchdowns. We just play decent on defense. We'll have a chance. So like, it was kind of a ridiculous first experience. And it was wild, man. Like no one had an answer for him. He just refused to be tackled. And he would like, you could feel him in practice. Like when he would run by you, like it was hard to get out of his way because he would run directly at you in the secondary. And you had to like,
too.
True. From week 7 to week 17, he averaged 160 yards on the ground.
Yeah. I mean, that's
from week 7 to week 17. He was in a whole nother level.
So Harrison, I think we got an opportunity to see another great future running back in this league and Dalvin Cook. Is there any comparisons?
Ooh.
I mean, their production, absolutely. They kind of have different builds. I think like the number one comparison would be like the respect they have in the locker room.
Right.
That kind of comes with being a good player, and they're both good dudes. So that's part of it. But on the field, I think that feeling of when they run by you in practice, because you're not trying to touch that guy or you get in trouble.
Tag him off. You got to tag him off.
Yeah, when Dalvin opens up and takes off, like you can feel how quick he's moving and how quick he gets to the corners. So that you feel, but without really playing against him, I don't think you can really respect how hard it is to tackle those two guys.
Right. And Mac, what did I say? Who was my first impression was in camp?
You said Cook.
No doubt about it.
Well, you know, watching Dalvin at Florida State, I respect tough running backs who don't bow down.
Right.
And the thing about Dalvin, I don't think he's quite as big as AP was in his prime years, especially that 2006 year. But Dalvin doesn't back down. He might get hit in the jaw, might get hit in the mouth. He's coming right back at you, and he's running hard. And like Harris mentioned, I mean, when he gets the football, you got to hold your breath if you're rooting against the Vikings, because he can take a yard at any given time. Any given time. And he showed that ability last year. So when you said what you said about, one of the people that impressed you the most offensively, I wasn't surprised. I've been Florida State. I've been watching Dalvin, going back to his high school days. You know what I'm saying? So seeing what he did at Florida State and now what he's currently doing in the NFL, I'm not surprised. And man, best is still yet to come. You know what I mean? We talked about that 2,000-yard season from AP. Should have Dalvin stay healthy, he can go get it. Yeah,
no doubt about it. I think we definitely got the pieces around him. For sure, for him to be able to continue that season he had last year, because the offensive weapons that we have this year, man, it can be quite scary, man.
No question.
So Harrison, man, Coach Zim took over, and this is my first season with the guys, and we see Coach Zim every day over there with the DBs, literally every day, Mac.
Oh, he buys. He actually buys, and he don't mind showing it.
Hey, he over there every day. So when Coach Zim took over your third season, what did you What did you take away from his arrival? Because we all know, with me being there a couple months, we know his let me see how I can say it, his appearance, his bashfulness. Like, how did that help your career, and how did you feel he had an impact on your first season once he got there, known as defensive back guru?
Man, being able to play in his defense, I knew a couple guys on the Bengals where he came from, and I saw him that offseason, and they just said how much I would enjoy playing for him. And after seeing him on Hard Knocks and everything, I was like, are you sure? Like, I don't know. And he gets in, and he's, like you said, he's tough. He's old school.
Mm-hmm.
Every now and then he'll be a little grouchy. But that's kind of what's made him so good as a DB coach and a defensive coach, is that, kind of like we were talking about Dalvin not backing down, like Zim doesn't back down, even if he gets beat, like this offseason, all the stuff we've been working on to fix what happened last year.
Yeah.
But his, what he asks out of safeties has been so much fun for me to try to compete with. Like, he loves Darren Woodson. Darren Woodson's his favorite player ever. Ask him about if you ask him about Woody, he just starts smiling.
Darren and Dion.
Yes. So those guys could do it all, and that's kind of what's asked. You got to be down the line of scrimmage. You got to be deep. You got to play routes tight, tackle well, communicate well. So really, that third year was my first introduction to kind of exotic defenses and a lot of multiple calls and stuff like that. So I thought that was kind of more my welcome to the league year. And since then I've been trying to expand on it. And it's just, like I said, it's a lot of fun being very multiple as a safety. And that's what you get to do in Zim's defense. But if you don't do it well, he's going to tell you about it. And if you got an area you got to work on, you better work on it.
Yeah. One thing I love about Zim, just watching from afar, as a fan of the game, as a former player of the game, he allowed his defensive players to be players. Yeah. It's not like a robot style. Right. One thing I love how he utilizes Harrison is you don't know where he's going to line up. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He might be at the line of scrimmage, bluffing like you're coming off the edge. You know what I mean? You might be in the middle third, might get to a half, might get to that quarter set. So just being able to utilize the best players on the defense and move them around, that's the best thing. That's the best way to have success. We used to do the same thing, similar with Troy. Troy would line up everyone in the football field. You don't know. And that used to confuse the offensive players, especially the quarterback, because you got so many different moving pieces that all came together when the ball was in play. So shout out to Coach Zim, and hopefully we can see some more of that exotic coverages that we've seen, especially with number 7 in the secondary.
And before you go on to that, Mac, it's perfect you said that, because, man, Harrison, actually, we talked about it. I think it was the last week going into minicamp, the pleasure that it is to have older guys in the secondary, to where when shit break down very quickly, we're able to communicate very quickly and be able to react very quickly, versus with young guys, like you can talk to them, but it's almost like you have to stress the issue versus out there just simply communicating. Because like me and X had a situation, me, X, and McKenzie actually in the red zone. And then, I can't go through all our checks and nothing like that, but it was something we checked right quick on the fly. Literally, it was like a second before the ball was snapped. But we all got through the communication, and it all, ended up working itself out. So it's great to have guys that have a ton of experience, and that's what, Coach Zim understand that he has. And he really don't bother us much when it's time for practice. But when we going through our warm-ups and stuff, he want to, he tell us things he want us to see. But when we go on that practice field, man, it's like hand in hand. And my line, Harrison, it's like, we out there, we're working, we're communicating. And hell, me and X, we've been there only, a couple months. We fit right on in. So just the culture there, man, I love everything about it. So I'm excited to be on the Minnesota Vikings team for sure.
Pat P, you got to, what time is it?
Ass cutting time, Jack.
That's what time it is, Harrison. Let's go. That's what time it is, Harrison. Hey, y'all meet me in LA. And I'm not talking about to see a Clipper Laker game. I'm not talking about that. February, meet me in LA, and I had the shirts made for all of y'all. What time it is, Pat P? Let them know what time it is.
That's good time, Jack.
Yes, sir. Let's go. Let's go. You know what time it is, man. Hey, I'm fired up. I'm a Viking fan right now. Y'all got my guy there. Man, I'm a fan of Harrison. Like I talked about, the sleeve and swag always be on point. They hit, man. Man, listen, it's time. Stop playing around. Let's go kick some people in the mouth. Man, I just got fired up. Let's go. Next question for you, though, Harrison. I'm going to go ahead and slow it down a little bit. Slow it down. I got to go back in time. If Blair Walsh don't miss that 27-yarder in the wild card game versus Seattle in 2015, do you think you guys had enough to get to that championship, to the Super Bowl that year? That 27-yarder still.
Yeah,
I'm sorry to bring it up to you. I'm sorry to bring it up to you, but I just want to know.
You know what's wild about that is, we started talking about what our path would have been if we'd have made it through. It might have been Arizona the next week.
Yeah.
It played out.
Yeah, because Arizona played Carolina, right?
No. We played Green Bay.
Yeah, but I think the way it would have unfolded is we'd have gone to Arizona.
The seeds.
Yeah.
Then they would have gone to Carolina.
Yeah, that whole next week, Anthony Barr is one of my good buddies, and we were texting each other that whole next week. Like, I feel like we should be watching like Cardinals film right now. Like, we didn't feel like the season was over because we played well, and Blair kicked well that game too. Like it was negative. I think it was -9, and like the wind chill was like almost -30.
Yeah,
because y'all weren't in the new dome yet.
Yes.
We were, so the new stadium was getting built. We were playing at the University of Minnesota.
The Gophers, yes.
That was the coldest I've ever been in my life. The warm-up was the coldest, not the game, the warm-up, because you're not near the heaters.
Right.
But, man, we definitely could have made a run there. And then, unfortunately, the next year when we were like, okay, we pretty much got everybody back.
Yeah.
We got some playoff experience, and then Teddy goes down. So that, there's been a little bit of bad luck with those things. That's how football is. But like you said, it's ass cutting time now. So it's different.
There we go. There we go. We got Harrison on board. Get the second level and the first level guys on board. Get them T-shirts. Y'all know what time it is, man. Yes, sir. All of that doesn't mean anything. It's about the here and now. Mike Tomlin used to tell us all the time. In this league, resume means nothing. It's about what you're doing right now. Right now. Resume means nothing. Yes, sir. Let's go.
So since Matt brought up a sour note of a playoff, I'm gonna bring up a more, exciting one. The Minneapolis Miracle.
Yeah.
Like how was US Bank Stadium at that time, and what was your feeling before that play? Because obviously we knew, we got one play left. You're like, oh man, this shit's over. After that play happened, like give me a walkthrough through that events.
That was a roller coaster of a day because obviously the Saints are always like crazy high-powered offenses.
Yep.
Sean Payton is, in my opinion, one of the toughest play callers to go against because
we talked about that, Matt.
Yeah, like you almost can't even watch film on him because it's like this dude will call anything at any time. So like, what am I looking at? And we held them to 0 in the first half, like played lights out. And we played okay in the second half, but we just gave up too many big plays on like kind of some Sean Payton type play calls, like really good play calls.
Yeah, wide open.
And so it started getting close at the end, and then I can't remember how much we were up, but they ended up getting a field goal at the end to go up. So as a defense, we felt like we didn't play well enough in the second half, and we didn't. So we were a little down on the sideline, but just the way that year was going, like, we're like, well, we definitely got to keep watching. And, Diggs made a special play. Case made a special throw. The offensive line held up. It was, it went from dead silence in that stadium because everyone thought it was over to like absolute madness.
I can imagine the city was on fire for you guys because, like you said, you go from actually feeling like you lost the game to, in the blink of an eye, you won the game. Like, I can imagine it's crazy.
Those things, like in the NFL too, like those things don't happen quite as often.
No,
I mean, they happen, like the Music City Miracle with the kickoff return and those things in the playoffs, but it just doesn't happen very often because the level of play is so high. That it's pretty shocking.
Yeah, and talking from the individual skill set. You're a football player. That's one thing I love about your game. You don't just go out and do one thing well. You do everything well, and you play with a lot of passion. But you never been known to be the flashiest guy on the football field. You don't say a lot, but your presence is felt, which is the most important factor. But do you think because you're not as flashy, you're not as vocal, it hurts you a little bit when it comes to getting recognized the right way? And the reason why I'm bringing this up, because for you guys that might not be a student of the game, over the last 10 years, there's one defender in the National Football League that has over 700 tackles and 25 plus picks over the last 10 years. And that one person is right here with us, all things covered, Harrison Smith. Unbelievable numbers, consistency, the longevity in being able to be on the football field for these opportunities. And you just continue to chop wood. But when people talk about safeties, they don't necessarily throw your name into that first part of the conversation. And I think they should. You got one first team All-Pro. You should have more. You should have more Pro Bowlers, in my opinion. But, some of these other guys might be a little more flashier and they might talk a little more. Do you think that kind of hurts you when it comes to getting noticed the right way?
So realistically, I do think, as far as recognition goes, I think it does hurt a little bit from not being a little more outspoken, a little flashier, celebrating a little more. I've always played better when I make a play, and like obviously you want to get excited about it. It helps the team out, gets the momentum going, but like move to the next thing because one play is not going to cut it. Like you need to stack up. One game's not going to cut it. It's a whole season, it's a whole career, it's all those things, and so much goes into it, and so much effort goes into it. Like it's hard for me to waste some of my effort like celebrating. As funny as that sounds,
you're right.
It's exhausting.
That's my logic on it.
Quick story. My rookie year, when we played in the Super Bowl, I used to be the hype guy, so I spent all my energy because it was a Super Bowl dancing pregame warm up. And I was on the first kickoff team. I was the prevent guy on kickoff. Man. I'm fired up. I'm dancing. I'm bumping. The first time they called nickel, I go in the game, I almost passed out. I ain't had no energy. And when that happened, I literally changed my playlist. I used to listen to a lot of hardcore rap, like kicking your door type rap. You know what I mean? Yeah. Knock your TV over type rap. I went and switched it up to R&B. I said, man, never again. And a lot of people don't realize that you use so much energy. You know what I mean? Sometimes celebrating or getting yourself pumped up because it's a 4-quarter ball game. And one thing Pat P said during the season, defensively, we don't come out the game. Offensive guys come out. Running backs, wide receivers, their O-line stay in the game. But when it comes to skill guys, we stay in. I mean, so valid point.
It only takes one on defense. You give up one deep ball, like you had a terrible game.
Oh man,
outside the whole game. On offense, it's the opposite. If you make one play, like you had a great game.
Yeah. Right.
So
Yeah, you know how that is, man. But that's how it is. That's what we signed up for. No, well, you know what I mean. We know how it is, and just go ahead and keep doing what you've been doing. I mean, it's earned you the stripes you've gotten so far, and it's going to keep doing what you're doing all the way to La La Land. Guaranteed to La La Land. I'm gonna have them shirts. I might get them shirts before La La Land too. Y'all might need to have them week 1.
Yeah. So Harrison, you've been with the Minnesota Vikings for 10 years. This is my first season with you guys. What do you think is going to be the key to success for us to get over the hump this year?
I've had this conversation with a lot of people. And you can always work out harder. You can always work on schemes. We've always had a really good locker room. Like the chemistry's always been great. And that's kind of just a tribute to the front office and how they select guys and bring guys in. To me, like, it's not necessarily tangible, but the confidence and the positivity, I think, are like real things that matter. And they matter when the games are, either win or go home.
Right.
Because things are going to go bad. Like they always do. You're going to have a tough series. You're going to have a tough game. But if you don't blink when those things happen, you trust what the team is and what the coaches bring to the table and what we all bring together. That's how teams win. Like, in my opinion, that's how Tom Brady has won. He hasn't necessarily lit up, like last playoffs, he didn't necessarily light things up stat-wise or anything, but I think he just permeates confidence throughout the entire locker room, throughout the organization, and it rubs off on people. And they know when it comes down to it, they're going to make one more play. And that's kind of the mindset that I think we have to make that one more play. No matter who makes it, no matter offense, defense, whatever, that's the only way to win in those times, because everybody's just about as good. Right. Everybody's got great players, but who's going to do it when it matters? Mm-hmm. And I think that's up to us vets too, to kind of start ingraining it into the group and into the organization.
Yeah, and one thing I can say too for you guys, and Pat P, growing up around me, the team that is the most together usually gets to the promised land. Yep. It's easy to be successful and work with people who you actually like and establishing a relationship, not just a working relationship. It's not a relationship. I only see you when I'm in the facility, but we rock together. I know some people might have family, so they can't really be, out and about. But sometimes we all get together. You have DB night, you have defense night, you have the offense, and everybody come together. Let's learn each other. Because when you learn each other, you tend to respect each other more. And when you have that respect, you don't want to let your brother down. You know what I mean? Wow. You don't want to let that person down. And so now the togetherness usually really shows up in December football. Because we know December football, especially, playing, even though you guys are indoors, your body is talking to you a little differently. Yeah. Your mind is talking to you a little differently. And now you got to really get over that hump to solidify your position in the playoffs if you have a shot. That's when the togetherness shows up. So you guys got a good sound group. Man, I'm excited. This is gonna be a fun year. I got a fun question for you, by the way. This is a 2-part question, Harrison. All right, what was your first reaction when you heard you guys were signing Pat P? That's the first part. Pat P signed with the Vikings, because I definitely was surprised. And the second part to the 2-part question, you and Pat P, both, you're entering 2021 with the same amount of career interceptions, 28. Mm-hmm. Who will have more at the end of the season?
And so part one, I didn't even consider us signing Pat P. I just didn't know it was a possibility. Like, I knew we got a bunch of young corners we're high on, and for good reason. I just didn't know we could get them. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, like, we got a vet in here, and not just a vet. We got Pat P in here. Like, there's just, how many other guys can you bring in like that? They just don't exist. So I was pumped, especially as a safety, having a guy that understands the game and has made so many plays in his career. Like, not only is it great to bring in Pat P, the player, but having your presence in the locker room around the young guys, like, it's going to be like, you'll be a multiplier. Like, you already have been a multiplier. So it's more than just one single addition, in my opinion. So that's huge. And then, the picks thing, man, like picks are weird.
They
right?
are.
Like they come in bunches sometimes. Sometimes they don't come.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get a couple tip balls that like I had one or two last year where like the corners made great plays and forced a high throw or tipped the ball, and I just got to
plays at the right time.
Right. And then there's other ones where you make a great play. I think I would say this. If Pat P has more at the end of the year, I think that's more impressive because it's hard for corners to always have their eyes on the ball.
No question, especially when you're playing a lot of man-to-man.
More. Right.
Yeah.
So when corners that play in like man-type schemes get a lot of picks, that's one of the most impressive things in football to me. Like, if I get one in man, that's impressive. But like, there's half of them I'm going to be staring at the quarterback. So I just get to read and react. So that's a little bit advantage to me on that.
Nah, I got you. Hey, and Harrison, would you ever hit the gritty after you get an interception?
Man, that goes along with no celebrations. Like,
no. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do, Harrison. No, I'm not gonna let you off there either.
I knew that was a reach. I just had to throw that out there. I knew Harrison was not hitting the gritty.
Harrison, I understand you don't celebrate, but what would it take for Harrison Smith to attempt the gritty? What would it take? The type of what has to happen? What has to happen for you to hit the gritty, Harrison?
Super Bowl question or Super Bowl no question. If I get some like really in detail coaching, some dance lessons, maybe in practice.
Okay.
Give me a little confidence.
You got the best instructor for the gritty right there on your team.
Right.
Jefferson.
Now we'll talk about it. We'll see if we can make a deal on that.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you this much. If y'all go to the Super Bowl, or let's say you make a huge play in the NFC Championship game that leads to the Super Bowl, like a big pick, a sack, strip sack, something like that. I need you to
maybe just a couple hits on it, because again, I got to get to the sideline. And
at least I do believe, because you're a DB and an athlete, you can look a little better than Kirk Cousins when he tried to do it.
You definitely got to have some feet, so it's in there somewhere.
No doubt. We got a few more questions before we hit to the superlative part of the show. We're gonna let you go. First question for you before we get to superlatives. Do you think you will retire as a Minnesota Viking?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what, happens at the end of careers. And I heard, I was listening to, it might've been the one with Champ where Pat P was saying, sometimes that 10-year mark, sometimes things change. Like, I don't plan on that happening, but the NFL is, it's the NFL. Like,
no question.
It's always wild. But I'll always consider myself a Viking no matter what.
Yeah, and you're entering the final year of a 5-year contract, the final year. So clearly, what's at stake. And because of the business side, the team clearly knows what's at stake as well. And they know how important you are, not just to the defense, but like you said, to the locker room. That's very, very important, having good guys in the locker room, especially being able to lead some of the younger guys. So I believe they're going to do what's best for the organization, which is the right thing to do for the organization. I think they're going to keep you around. So I'm rooting. I love seeing everybody get paid, especially key guys in the secondary. So I'm definitely rooting for you. Last question before we hit to the superlative part of our show. When you look at the Minnesota Vikings defense, and I'm so high on your defense, man, I know last year you guys dealt with a lot of injuries. You faced a lot of criticism, but people don't understand when you're losing key players that play impactful parts, to your defense, it's going to be a drop off. You know what I mean? But if you guys stay healthy, I think this defense is going to be hell. It's going to be hell. But who on the defense are you expecting big things from this year? Give us a name.
Man, I could give you a lot of names that wouldn't be the ones you read about.
That's what we want. That's what we want to hear.
Right. Y'all already referenced Xavier, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, right when he stepped in the door, like he's an impressive individual, man. Like on the football field, off the football field, he's a confident guy, smart guy. He moves really well and understands the game really well. I'm excited to be back there with him. And that'll we'll make each other's jobs easier because I can tell we already communicate well. Getting Mackenzie Alexander back
in the slot,
I think he's going to make a lot of plays for us. Guys up front, one guy that might not be celebrated as much, like Stephen Weatherly, I think
you talk about
is
him
a really good piece for us. Yeah, he's a very multiple type player that can do a lot of things. There's a lot of guys. I'm like you said, I'm excited about our defense and how we have so much depth. We got Sheldon Richardson back too.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a ton of guys that aren't talked about.
Man, listen. Y'all don't understand, man. When the names that you just talked about, as far as names that most people might not know of, can be huge for the defense, along with everybody else that will be a part of your defense. Man, listen, it starts in training camp. Trust me. You can tell when you have a championship like caliber defense. It starts in training camp. Because one thing about good defenses, it's not just about the ones. When the twos go out there, you see the same production. You see the twos, you see the threes. I mean, you see people competing. You know what I mean? You don't see a lot of separation. They right where they're supposed to be. People are talking, communicating. It's not like you're in class in the library. You see that, and then when the ones come out there, it's just the domino effect. Everything follows what the ones do. So y'all guys, man, listen, y'all better be fired up. I'm fired up. I know I ain't got to play one down. I'm retired.
Hey, we fired up, Jack. I'm surprised you didn't say, yeah. I was about to say that's your guy right there, man.
That's my guy, man. The other Harry.
Yeah.
Pearson Hand. He's I almost just already expected it out of him, so I didn't say it. But he's no doubt Pearson Hand.
Yeah, when I came out, man, I like Hand, man. Hand can play. He got good feet. He just, you tell he goes home and watches himself every day to make sure he's coming back the next day to improve. So that's the thing I like about Harry as well, man. A young guy that definitely wants to get it.
Yes, sir. All right, now Harrison, we're gonna transition to the superlative part of the show. This is like a 2-minute drill for you. You know what I mean? It's the no huddle situation. They need 3 points to win the ball game. They're gonna hit you with some different things from the secondary standpoint. Let's see how you respond. First question, I need your unbiased, honest answer. I didn't know this. I know now, right? What's your favorite Harrison Ford movie? And why this question is relevant to Harrison Smith, he's named after Harrison Ford. I didn't know it.
Well, I don't think my parents picked Harrison because of Harrison Ford, but I am a Harrison Ford fan.
Okay.
I think if I had to pick one, maybe The Fugitive.
Fugitive. Yes. I like it. It's
kind of a classic. I watched Air Force One a lot when I was a kid, but man, Harrison Ford's a good one. All the Indiana Jones movies are tough to beat.
Yes. Oh, no question.
I wasn't really a Star Wars guy, but most people might say that. But I'd say The Fugitive. Yeah.
I like The Fugitive. I can rock with you on that one.
Best Notre Dame moment.
Ooh.
Best Notre Dame moment. Man, we weren't that good when I was there. So on the football field, we didn't do what I thought we would do. The best Notre Dame moment, man, honestly, my favorite thing about Notre Dame is that you don't room with football players. You room with everybody.
I didn't know that.
Actually, my roommate is at my house right now. He's just in another room. So he just came in to visit. That to me is the coolest part about Notre Dame is you meet people from all different areas and you really do make lasting relationships. So that's, to me, it's like more of a holistic approach to things. It's not just football.
And also, exactly. Also, you getting your networking on before you actually have to network. You know what I mean?
No question.
Yeah, have an opportunity to meet all of these other students from all different other, programs that they're pursuing. You never know when you may need them.
Yeah, I did not know that. That's unique too. Dope. Especially, college. Like you say, most players usually be in a room with a football player or maybe another student athlete, but just normal students. Wow.
does make the schedule hard sometimes when those guys are up all night and you got early workouts. But
that could be an issue. All right, top 5 safeties in the NFL right now.
Right now. I always hate these lists. Number one, like every scheme is different. Every team is different. So it's not always just like, and like some safeties do some things great and they're not, it's all over the place. But
that's why I always tell Mac, I don't give a top 5, I just give names.
Pat P won't give me the rank. He won't rank them. So he be get off on me. He won't rank them.
I'll go with some guys.
Okay, so all right. So how about this one then, Harrison? Top 5 safeties you would love to play with. Like, granted, you probably would never play with these guys.
Yeah.
But if you can be in the secondary with these guys, it's gonna be hell to pay.
Man, I think obviously Tyron is one. I love how Buddha plays, like his intensity. I've always loved Malcolm Jenkins. Kind of came in as a corner and nickel. He still plays nickel and dime and all that stuff. So like, I think he's really impactful on the field. And I played in a couple of Pro Bowls with him, and it was just cool to be around him.
Malcolm is a cool dude.
Man, there's guys on every team like that can go make plays on the ball. Man, I really like how Adrian Amos plays with the Packers. Like,
he played with a lot of attitude.
Yeah, like I don't think he gets quite the hype he deserves. And it's easy to look at the guys in our division, like Eddie Jackson, would be a guy that he's a ball player. I'm missing guys. You can point at somebody on every team.
No question.
This is the last one before we let you go. I think I know who this can be. We talked about him on a plane ride from Michigan. The funniest Vikings teammate.
Funniest Vikings teammate, I would have to say Chris Boyd to start with. I love Chris Boyd. He's my guy. I don't even know if that's who we were talking about.
No, he's one of them, but the receiver, number 15, Amir, I think his name is.
Yeah. Amir. So Amir, man, like we haven't even got to know him that well, but you walk in the locker room, it was our first day, and he's controlling the music, like no questions asked, full confidence. We were like,
hey, Matt,
what's going on?
Matt. He's undrafted. I mean, he playing some bangers too. We're like, man, who got the music? Like you'll think Amir been in the league for 5 years, bro. And he's just he got everything on lock. But he's hilarious as well because he got like these one-liners. He's just a funny young dude, man.
Smith, right? He's from Iowa.
Yep. But Chris Boyd, I won't have to deny you on that one, man. Chris Boyd is a funny dude. Chris Boyd does something every single day.
That about wraps it up for us.
Yeah, Harrison, we know you got a round to attend to here before the sun set, wherever you are. We appreciate you for coming on the show, All Things Covered. And hell, I'll see you in about 3 weeks, baby.
Hey, Harrison, one time, man. What time is it?
Ass cutting time.
There we go. There we go.
Hey, you got the Tahoe event coming up?
Yeah, I'm on. Hey, you see my bag? It's my new bag right here. My boy Harrison. Hey, Harrison, how I be hitting these clubs right here, Harrison?
That's what I'm talking about. The smooth, that smooth stripe, that thin top line. Yeah, those are special. Hey,
Harrison, he say, Pat, you say you want to finish what, top 10?
Yeah, I want to finish top 10. I wish they made them in a lefty set so I can get them for my boy, but
they don't care about lefties, man. Nobody cares about lefties. I can't find a Scotty to save my life either. Like,
I know, man.
No lefties.
No lefties. Well, Harrison, we thank you for showing us love. I'll see you in 3 weeks. All Things Covered. Vikings, check in.
One of the top safeties in the game, man. Go get that. Hey, go get that handsome ransom, like my uncle say. That's a handsome ransom. Go get that handsome ransom.
Go get it.
I appreciate y'all both.
Yes, sir.
All right, baby.
All right.